What is up guys, Jarv here, back today with another Suicide Squad video. In today's video, we're taking a look at all the must-have items in Season 0. These are all the items that are available as part of the initial launch of the game. Naturally, there will be even more items added in Season 1, which launches in March. So we'll keep these videos rolling season over season, bringing some of the best items available to the forefront and ensuring they're key parts of each and every one of your builds. And if you're new around here, be sure to leave a comment and rating down below. And remember to subscribe for more Suicide Squad content. But without further delay, guys, let's jump into the video. Now, the very first item we're going to take a look at, and one you most definitely want to keep an eye out for, is called the Stacked Deck. Now, this is a legendary weapon. You can actually get this in various weapon archetypes, including shotguns, auto rifles, and miniguns. And you can even pick up this weapon from various manufacturers. I have two from LexCorp, and the main talent on this weapon is where the firearm's damage is reduced by 50%, but for each successive hit on an enemy, the firearm causes it to take 15% more damage from all sources, up to a maximum of 750%. Now, on fast-fire weapons like shotguns and miniguns, negating that initial minus 50% takes very little work. And just by using this firearm, you can increase damage from all sources, which means regardless of the type of build that you're using, you're essentially creating a free buff for you and your entire squad. Now, if you do have multiple versions of Stacked Deck, I highly recommend putting one on each and every member of your squad. They'll not only buff their own damage, they'll buff the entire squad too. Now, if you don't have the Stacked Deck, this is available from Notorious over in Metropolis, but you will need to be on Invasion level 4 or 5 for this to have a chance to drop. Outside of Metropolis, you can get this through incursions, killing time, and mayhem missions, and naturally the higher the mastery level, the greater the chance of getting one to drop. Now, sticking with legendary weapons, a legendary grenade you definitely want to keep your peepers peeled for is Bang. Now, much like the Stacked Deck, this is also available as a master variant, and the main talent on this grenade is it limits you to carrying one grenade at a time, but for each grenade you have, this deals 500% more damage and has a 100% bigger explosion radius. It's an incredibly powerful grenade. It's basically a handheld nuke. And if you can spec your build into grenade generation, or even apply mods that drop live grenades when sliding or evading your enemies, the bonuses of the Bang grenade will also apply to those talents, which is absolutely ideal for the incubator missions and clearing out rooftops and taking out those crystals all with a single blast. And another grenade that you can actually craft is the Volatile Personality. Now, unlike the Bang, this one actually increases your grenade capacity to 10, but it will reduce your grenade damage and radius by 60%. So it's almost the polar opposite, but grenade pickups give you 3 grenades instead of 1, and this grenade is ideal for applying mass affliction to a vast array of combatants. If you ever find yourself surrounded, you can just let off loads of affliction grenades, and if you're leaning into Diablo Blaze or even Craze, these enemies will pretty much take care of themselves, allowing you to focus on the key targets on the battlefield. Now, much like the Stacked Deck, these are available through Notorious over in Metropolis or via the incursion missions. As we mentioned, the Volatile Personality is in fact craftable too, so if you can't get one, be sure to pay Penguin a visit over in the Hall of Justice and craft your perfect grenade. Now, moving on to Notorious items, and we have a Black Mask's Bulletstorm. This is available as a minigun, sniper rifle, and pistol, and the talent is the same across all variants. Now, for each enemy you hit with this firearm, it receives Black Mask's mark, and applying this to 3 different enemies within 6 seconds causes all marked targets to trigger a fiery explosion that burns nearby enemies. You can also activate a villain synergy by combining Black Mask and Bane items, with the Bane items being available through the incursion missions as part of the Bane Infamy sets. This will trigger the terror behind the mask. Now, this will build up on non-vehicular kills, and once it reaches 5 stacks, the next enemy you craze will deal 500% more damage while it's alive, and you deal 500% more damage while it's alive too. Now, if you pre-ordered Suicide Squad, you will have a version of the Black Mask's Bulletstorm already, but if you didn't, you can pick this up through the endgame via the incursions, killing time, and mayhem missions. Now, the perfect partner to the Black Mask's Bulletstorm is the Heatwave's Molten Shield. Now with this item, each enemy you burn that isn't already burning makes you invulnerable to damage for 2 seconds and returns 10% of the damage received back to the attacker. Now this is due to be changed in an up and coming patch. I believe the invulnerability to damage is being changed to provide a 90% damage reduction instead. But then for each enemy that you burn, this increases the duration by 2 seconds up to a maximum of 30 seconds. Now as we touched upon earlier, burn builds are incredibly strong, and even after some of the changes, they are still likely to be a viable option, but at least not the only option when it comes to pushing out those higher mastery levels. The combination of Black Mask's Bulletstorm and Heatwave's Molten Shield is the perfect partnership, and one you should definitely consider when jumping deep into the endgame. Next we have a traversal mod called the Turtle's Steel Force Conduit. Now this is a powerful item because it provides a free damage resistance and also a free damage bonus depending on how you're moving out on the battlefield. So for each second spent standing still, this adds a stack of Steel Force Conduit, and each second spent moving removes a stack, and instead we'll add a stack of Speed Force Exhaustion. Now Speed Force Conduit increases damage reduction by 5% per stack, with Speed Force Exhaustion increasing damage by 50% per stack, and each effect can stack up to 10 times. So as long as you're moving around the battlefield and create up to 10 stacks of Speed Force Exhaustion, this is a free 500% damage buff. There's almost no reason not to have this equipped, and whilst it doesn't have a villain synergy right now, it could have one later on, making this an even stronger traversal mod. Now next up we have Jinx's Unlucky Coin. Now this is a Notorious lucky charm, and you gain 750% increased damage to specific afflictions for 20 seconds. This rotates through the afflictions in a specific order, and you also gain 250% increased damage to afflicted enemies regardless of the affliction. Again, if you're heavily leaning into afflicted enemies, which if you're running the volatile personality grenade we touched upon earlier in this video, then it's highly likely that you are, and this is a perfect partner. Now a great thing to bear in mind is due to the changes and shifts in meta that we're likely to see season over season, you could be switching between different affliction depending on what's popular at that particular moment in time. The Jinx's Unlucky Coin is almost timeless in that sense because it provides you a bonus across any affliction currently available in the game. Now another item to keep an eye out for is the Hugo Strange's Specialization. This is a Notorious neck bomb. Now after afflicting 5 enemies with the same affliction, you are now immune to damage from enemies afflicted by that affliction for 20 seconds. Now by combining this with any item from the Bane's Infamy set, you'll unlock a villain synergy called Rage itself. Now for each time you craze an enemy, you'll also gain 50% damage increase for 30 seconds up to a maximum of 250%. So if craze isn't a key part of your build, especially after some of the changes to burn, the combination between Hugo Strange's Specialization and Bane's Infamy set is almost the perfect partnership. With the upcoming changes to the Heatwave's Molten Shield, this could be another viable option when you're looking for a brief period of immunity. Again, survivability in the endgame is absolutely critical. This creates the perfect opportunity to enable just that, whilst also providing a very juicy damage bonus. Now the final item we're going to take a look at is the Two Faces Persuader. This is a Notorious melee weapon, and for every melee hit on a crazed enemy, this has a 50% chance to drop either live grenades or grenade ammo at the enemy's feet. Now Two-Face and Bane does trigger a villain synergy which will unlock the True Face of Fury. So in addition to that, harvesting enemies now has a 100% of dropping grenade ammo, and also increases grenade damage by 100% for 20 seconds. So if you want to lean into a grenade craze build, then combining the Two Faces Persuader with the Hugo Strange's Specialization is a very deadly combination. And if you have the Bang Grenade, then heavily relying on burn builds is pretty much a thing of the past. All in all, there's some pretty incredible items available across multiple slots in the game. What is your favorite item, and what sort of talents and augments are you keeping an eye out for? Be sure to sound off down in the comments below. So there we have it guys, a good look at some of the best items currently available in Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to check out one of the 2 videos you see here in these cards for more Suicide Squad content. And if you want to keep up to date with everything to do with the Suicide Squad, then be sure to hit subscribe as well. I'm going to jump into the game as always guys, and I will catch you all again very soon.